Hey everyone, Tin Man here, back with some more Dota Underlords, playing some ranked mode, and I'm playing an Essex, and I was kind of unsure whether an Essex or Hobgin would come out on top in this patch, and right now we see 7 an Essex in this lobby and 1 Hobgin. Our last game we played had a good even split of 4 and 4, so it's a little interesting to see a little bit of a higher preference towards the Essex today. I think I'm going to start with Ogre Magi. He's just got tons of health. Just really big health total, really good early game impact. And looking at today's jail, we do see Razor out for mages, but other than that, I mean, scrappy mages are affected by techies, but if you're just going a traditional kind of mage build or even like primordial build, it's not that big a deal to be missing just Razor. Especially with the addition of Morphling into the fold of the mage composition. So looking around here, we got a pretty good lobby. See 4 Lord players. I'm still in Big Boss 3. Actually, I'm the lowest ranked player in this lobby. That's pretty impressive. And that's at least a little bit of good information. We see a lot of the higher ranking players going for an Essex, although one does opt for Hobgin. If we want to stick with the mage idea, we pick up the Crystal Maiden here. Or just Queen of Pain as an individual strong unit. I think I'm going to pick up Queen of Pain. I think she's just so much individually stronger than Crystal Maiden at this point. Her AoE damage much higher, and of course is a demon for an Essex. That even though it's a mage in Crystal Maiden, she's probably one of the lower impact mages just in terms of her damage output and just early game impact. So not going to be too upset to miss that for a moment. Alright, looking around we see couple people on Nyx Assassins. That's one thing that Assassins are completely uncontested, or not uncontested, but not affected by the jail at all today. There are no Assassins in jail, and really nobody who's typically played into an Assassin build, so they're kind of at full strength today. Which is one good reason we picked up the Queen of Pain as well. Here we see the Ogre Magi, but I also see a pair of Magnus. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to sell off this Queen of Pain for a pair of Magnus. I'm just all about pairs. There are no Brutes in jail today, but there are a bunch of Heartless in jail, and typically you want to be pairing up Brutes with Heartless, specifically Lifestealer with Drow Ranger, Shadow Demon, and try to get up to 4 Heartless. After it's the nerf to just 2 Heartless, that's not quite as impactful, so you generally want to get up to 4. But given the current jail today, getting up to 4 Heartless would require getting Lich. There's only exactly 4 Heartless, so that's a little unlikely it seems, but you never know. We might just end up with like 2 Heartless if we go a Brute build. And based on what we currently have, this is actually a really good start to just a kind of like a buff build. I mean, we don't have Hobgin for the supercharge, but you know, Ogre Magi giving Bloodlust to somebody, then Magnus empowering them, and it gets out of control really quick. Everybody casting buffs right off the bat, and here we get a pair of Tinies. So no completed upgrades just yet, but 3 pairs is a reasonable spot to be in. I'm actually going to throw in this Mr. Warlock and just kind of throw our buff guys here in the back. And then this way, hopefully, everybody kills this Mr. Warlock really quick. And then the Ogre Magi and Magnus buff each other up while he's getting killed off in the front. And then they come in and clean up because they'll all be supercharged. Opponent's got a 2-star Tusk, so I think we probably lose. That's a lot of tankiness and a lot of damage output from having 3 warriors plus a 2-star Tusk. But we should probably take 1 or 2 guys down with us. I don't think we'll get any more than that, I don't think. Yeah, not even getting 2 guys down, because we kind of split our attention there. That's fair enough. You can also pick up the Enchantress, just hold on to that onto the bench. And hopefully we can get some of these upgrades here. We see 2 other people have picked up the Brute Alliance already, but they don't really have pairs that go into it. They don't have a pair of Axe or pair of Magnus, so I'm not really concerned that they're gonna like hard commit to Brutes right away. And regardless, we'll just kind of see where we go based on this next pack. What do we get? We get an Axe, we get the Brute. I'll see some more Druids and Beastmaster. Yeah, so I think I'm just gonna pick up Axe, throw that in instead of the Bloodbound buff, and then is that better? Is Brutes better than Bloodbound? Probably is about equal. Pick up the extra Enchantress, and I gotta use this free reroll this turn. Our opponent's intentionally going on a losing streak here, so we're gonna get a bonus gold. They're just kind of intentionally playing less units. I guess I pick up Nature's Prophet instead of Beastmaster. Actually, I might pick up Beastmaster as well. And there's an Enchantress. Okay, so I'll sell off... let's sell off this Beastmaster and grab Enchantress plus Axe. And so now we've got some interesting options. I think we're going to go with Druids here. Druids and Shamans, so we get a couple of 2 stars. And then hopefully we hit some of these combinations on our bench here. There's the Axe, perfect. So Axe is going to go in, I guess, over Ogre Magi. And that'll give us the Brute bonus. And gets us up to essentially 3 2-star units between the Nature's Prophet, the Magnus, and the other Druids here. So I think we're in pretty good shape. I'm not a big fan of any of these other options. Weaver, who's no longer a hunter, means that it's kind of in a weird spot, kind of having 2 secondary alliances. It's a little bit harder to get Weaver to fit into any situation. Looks like apparently there's multiple people going for this kind of losing streak strategy, and I am a-okay with that because I am feeling pretty good about our chances after getting all these upgrades. Yeah, there's multiple players who are intentionally playing less units just to sell off to get up to higher interest points, and if they go on a losing streak, well then that's, you know, it's more consistent than trying to force a win streak if you're not already getting that. But because we have so many potential upgrades to find, I'm pretty happy with kind of taking this role as attempting to go for a win streak, even if we may not be able to compete with some of the top players in this lobby because they've already leveled up. If we find one more upgrade and then we can level up, we can definitely compete. We don't find an upgrade here, so one instead I'm going to do is just sell up to 10 gold, and then post-combat buy the Axe, buy the Nature's Prophet, probably even buy the Shadow Demon. He'd probably be the best Heartless to pair with a Lifestealer if we get it, because he's also a demon for an Essex. So I'm not positive that we would beat any of the top 2 players who are also on a win streak, but I think we would beat anybody else in this lobby. Looks like we are facing another lower ranked player, so that's pretty good. Yeah, they've got all... they've got a 2-star Venom and 2-star Shadow Demon. Maybe a little close. I think we should be good though. That was a big Nature's Prophet ult there. And yeah, we're good. Alright. Cleaving right through their front line. They got very little damage output, and we should be good. Probably not going to play Nyx Assassin or Queen of Pain. There's already somebody else going for Assassins, and possibly even a second down here with the Queen of Pain. I guess Morphling's not an assassin anymore, but I saw that and I thought, oh, that's an assassin. Not quite. Still, we've got now 4 pairs and are in pretty good shape. Hopefully, if we hit one of these upgrades, then I'm kind of inclined to level up to really be able to contest a couple of the other people on a win streak. I think I could beat them if we find another upgrade. I don't find another upgrade. So the question is, do I want to sell up to 20 gold here? What do I don't want? I mean, I don't really care for Tiny. I guess I could ditch the Tiny and the Ogre Magi's, but then I have very little potential to actually find another upgrade on a subsequent turn. So, you know, I'm just going to sit here and just take the 15 gold of interest. I don't want to sell off 2 pairs and then somebody else who's also useful. Okay, that's just a 1-star Treant, thankfully. Whew. A 2-star Treant would be much, much scarier. I think we are good, though. That Shadow Shaman... Shadow Shaman is a very potent early game unit, just constantly keeping people down. But luckily it hit an Essex, who, yeah, she burns off her hype, but she's not the actual one dealing damage. That's the... As long as she doesn't hit our other... or doesn't hit the other guys, we're still going to keep on dealing lots of DPS. Looks like we are able to take this win here with lots of healing and sustain. Everyone is still pretty much at full health. And we get them down. Perfect. So we're keeping our win streak together. And I still want one more of these upgrades. There's a Tiny. Okay, so I'm gonna level up to put the Tiny in right now. And I think I'm gonna sell off to 20 here. Yeah, okay, since we found one of those upgrades, I think we're going to ditch the Ogre Magi and probably Shadow Demon. He's probably the least likely one to come in anytime soon. Probably going to be working on getting the other upgrades instead. They've got a 2-star Treant. This is the win streak player, so I'm glad I bought this upgrade. and leveled up. Otherwise, we may lose our win streak here. I mean, we still might, because that's a 2-star treant, and I don't really know how to beat that if we're not focus firing it, because, I mean, we're not right now. Just hope that Essex can get the job done. It doesn't look to be the case. That treant's still very much at full health. That is really unfortunate. I was hoping that after that level up we would keep the win streak going, but against anybody else we would have, but not against this opponent. Instead, we're just going to get basically wiped. Yeah, treant protector, 2-star. Way too good for me. Alright, it's unfortunate. But we did sell up to get 20 gold of interest, so it's not like I'm really losing any gold by doing that level up play. Just a little unfortunate. Alright, so there's a couple options here. I'm not entirely sure what the correct option is. I think Chaotic Hunter, after its slight buff, wins out, especially if we already have a relatively tanky front line. We don't really need to have Brill Bruiser as if we had a you know, you'd use Brill Bruiser if you had, say, an assassin build that didn't have too many other frontlining options. Can pick up this pair of Shadow Demons here and then use our free reroll. I'm a big fan of Bat Rider. I'll pick him up. So right back to where we've always been in this game. There's a lot of pairs. I think Io is a little bit better than Nature's Prophet just for the constant tether buff and also the ability to resurrect one of our 2-star units, specifically Axe or Tiny, depending on who dies first. Hopefully we can hit some more upgrades though. Looking around the table, there's one other person on looking like a Brutes build here. I guess 2 really. They kind of moved into Brutes up there. Actually, I have 4 Brutes. I have 4 Brutes already. Oh, that is really scary. I think Helm of the Undying is still the best pickup here. Throw that down on the Tiny, I suppose. What about Hunter builds? I guess Hunters are a little bit weak today. Oh, there's the Magnus. Can't really get up to any higher gold total here. I think I'm just going to sell off this Beastmaster and then level. And then throw, I guess, just a Shadow Demon in. It's not the greatest thing in the world, but I want to keep pace with everybody else who's leveling up to 6, and it's not costing me any interest to do that. I guess combined, the 2 level ups we previously did, I could have, in theory, gotten up to 30 gold at some point, so maybe the level ups have cost me some amount of gold, but I think that's worthwhile to get the increase in power level here. I don't want to stay at a lower level forever. Alright, looks like Io is relocating, brought it back in a Tiny, not too shabby. And with the healing and their treant is not quite gonna beat us out here. I think we got this one in the back. I should probably make Io tether to Magnus instead of to Axe, because I think Magnus is going to be a little bit more of an important unit to tether to. I'm not a big fan of Abaddon, especially if we're not going to go for 4 Heartless, with just so many out. It doesn't make a ton of sense to do that. There's a Doom. Hello. Alright, so I think we can move away from Nature's Prophet. Because eventually I think we're just going to run like Io plus Treant Protector, right? And then also these Bat Riders to put in the Doom. Let's do that. I think this is a much better build. I'm still looking for the Treant Protector that would easily replace the Enchantress to get us up to 4 Brutes. And then, I mean, kind of looking for Lifestealer too, but I don't know how well Lifestealer fits into this build, all things considered, because of the Heartless situation. They get a 2-star Treant, and that's probably going to kill us, because as we all know, 2-star Treant Protector is pretty unstoppable. We haven't dealt like any damage to it. It's still at basically full health. We need to get a Doom on it, which we're not really showing any ability to cast Doom on him anytime soon. Yeah, he's just like 1v5ing in our backline. Hey, there's a Doom on him. Okay, right at the end of the fight there. That That really worked out. That our Doom and a Nesix. Man, a Nesix really doing tons of work in that fight. I was scared. That was looking really bleak for a while, but ended up getting there. Sweet. Alright, so I do think I like the idea of Lifestealer, but I think I'm just going to sell off these Shadow Demons because it may not actually be the Heartless we want if we even do get to it. It would eventually like probably replace Axe in the very late game if we don't get a 3-star Axe. I just want to get up to 40 gold. I think that's more important. Definitely currently in second place right now. The 8-0 has completed a win streak, which we attempted to beat them, but you know their 2-star Treant Protector was too good for us. On the other hand, this opponent, this is the one Hobgon player in the lobby. They're playing some Assassins, and I think we're pretty good. Brutes generally kind of compositionally counter Assassins in a lot of cases, just because the Brute debuff really stops their damage output. Because they're all auto-attack based, and of course, unlike something like Hunters or something that can go backline and be protected from the Brutes, the Assassins are going to jump in right onto your Brutes. Nothing we really need here. Pick up an Enchantress just in case we get a whole bunch of them, but with Lone Druid out, I'm not really inclined to get too many more Savages. Not in this build, at least. We played some Savage builds in this meta, but it was not the best option. There's another Io, and with Tiny's coming together, if we get a 3-star Tiny, I would play it. I would play a 3-star Tiny at, you know, for the entire game just as a good unit. Even if we don't have other alliances with them. I guess we would have Primordial, but that's not the most impactful one. Mainly I'm saying if I don't have Warriors. And if you're playing Brutes, you generally don't have too much space for Warriors, since you kind of already have some melee damage dealers, and you kind of need some other options. Let's pick up the Io, pick up the Tiny. Not really going to go for 4 Druids, nor do I think I want to go for Primordials? There's a lot of Primordial Mages around. You know, I'll pick it up just in case. And since if we already have Tiny, and we already have some Ios, I guess 6 Primordials is a thing we could transition into. Essentially 6 Primordials, 3 Mages. Yeah, you don't have Razor, but you've got Morphling for that Razor, you know, for that kind of a role. Obviously, we're currently going Brutes, but I think by the late game, Brutes start to fall off, and Mages start to look a lot more appealing. See one other player on Mages down here. One other person kind of looking at Primordials. But, which is kind of like, that's kind of like light competition in reality. Ooh, there's a Bristleback in this pack. I think we pick up Sharp Pain. I think this is one of the better pickups nowadays, now that an Essex Sharp Pain has kind of been buffed in the last patch. Deals a little bit more damage, so you're kind of doubling a higher damage total. Definitely pick up the Bristleback, and that'll be our next unit in, just because he completes the Brawny and the Savage, which is not like the most impressive thing, but it does work. It does work at this point in the game. So after this creep round, we'll level up to 7, and just throw in the Bristleback. Scouting around, we do see 2 people on Assassins, and that kind of makes me think I want to stick with Brutes, just because Brutes are very compositionally good against Assassins. The problem is there's like a strictly better Brute build up there, right above us in the standings. This may be one case where we might just be playing for second place, and I'm not going to be too upset about that. You're never going to be like able to get first place in every single game, and there's no reason to compromise a potentially good finish to kind of pivot too dramatically to try to, you know, shoot for the moon and get that first place. So I'm going to pick up Skull Basher. Awesome item on really anybody. Let's put in the Bristleback, and there's a Life Stealer actually. Actually, maybe put in Life Stealer. Just get 4 Brutes is probably a little bit better off than the Bristleback right now. I think Bristleback might come back in. He is pretty powerful. Yeah, I'll just sit here. I don't want to sell back up to 50 gold because I'd have to lose one of my options, either Bristleback or Morphling. I don't really want to do that. Okay, so here's the other Brutes player. Probably going to lose because they're extremely strong on a massive win streak, but yeah. just very little options to beat that. That once again, they've got the 2-star Treant Protector who's still alive despite our best efforts. And that's probably gonna... Well, finally goes down. Doom comes back up. So we're not going to take too terribly much, but we are going to lose here. Yep. And that's kind of to be expected. 10 damage. Okay, well that was terribly much, but we're still in actually second place after that. Essentially, we're just losing to one opponent. And if we get the second best build at the table, I'm okay with that. There's a Keeper of the Light, which kind of leads me towards like Primordial Mages, right? We can go Keeper of the Light, Crystal Maiden, Morphling as our 3 mages. We've got the tiny 2-star. Yeah, I mean, that seems like a pretty decent idea. I'm not opposed to that. Actually going to move Axe a little bit like this so that he picks up more initial aggro, and Lifestealer and Brute and Doom, our damage dealers, don't get hit too quickly. The Assassins jump in, and so it's a little bit of a moot point. But that being said, even with an Essex down, I still feel like we're in good shape. The rest of their guys are not dealing any damage to us. Alright, let's pick up the Keeper of the Light, Crystal Maiden. I guess the Shadow Fiend has a potential. 2-star IO. Another tiny. Well, 2-star IO is good no matter what build we run. And now it means that just even a single like Treant Protector is very, very strong. Because it'll be a 2-star Treant Protector. Lifestealer. You got this, buddy? Nope, you don't got this. Ah, so close. I mean, I wish I had won, but another free reroll's fine. For only 2 damage, I'm not going to be overly concerned about that. Actually, that first place person has been defeated. What did they lose to? They lost to a mage build. I guess that makes sense. The brutes are not terribly effective against mages. Don't really want anything here. Don't need Ogre Magi. If anything, we're going to go for like 3 mages instead of up to 6. Another Magnus, another Lifestealer. That, to me, means that I may not want this Bristleback. If I'm going to go with Lifestealer, eventually I'll get a Treant Protector, which can replace the Axe for 4 brutes. Is there a way to like, do like 4 brutes and 3 mages? Is that a thing? Like, that doesn't really make much sense, but like mages are just really strong. If we can get them. I'm up against them again. Up against the first place player again. Twice in 3 rounds. That's unfortunate. We did find some upgrades though. The IO upgrade, and not the worst. We still don't have a Treant Protector. So we're still going to lose because, you know, Treant Protector wins these fights. Yeah, I'm just going to buy these guys, and then... Yes, we're on a losing streak, but I'm not going to put too much stock into it. It's literally losing to the same person twice. And then the other person was like a super narrow loss. So I'm not going to panic at this point. Okay, there's a Treant Protector. So that's like just strictly better than the Enchantress at the moment. Use our free reroll. Find another tiny. Alright, there's a couple other people on mages. I think I'm going to ditch out of mages here. I still might play tiny as just like a good 3-star unit. Assuming we can get him up to 3-star. And then probably try to throw in Bristleback. I might even just run with 4 brutes. If I get big axe and I want to play Bristleback. Or we just try to find some other late game damage sources. Like Medusa or something like that. This is not going too terribly well. And it's with other mages out on the table, that's why I'm a little inclined to try to look for a... I mentioned Medusa because I was thinking scaled. And she's just a good damage dealer and a scaled, so it make a lot of sense. Otherwise, I don't think I really want to go with any kind of hunters. I mean, Bristleback just could be his own kind of carry. Same with Doom and whatnot. I've been liking Summon Demonic Golem as opposed to Enthrall, especially with the melee heavy lineup. It's hard to get back to their back line. I'm going to be able to level up here and still have plenty of gold left over. I don't think I want to force level up to 9, although I, in theory, could. Just to really get those higher odds and those better units. I think I want to stay at level 8 for a little while and reroll, trying to hit Tiny upgrade, trying to hit... Actually, I kind of want to get to level 9, now that I'm thinking about it, because I want a Heartless. I want a Heartless, and I want to get Bristleback in, which is just a good combo. I mean, I'd have to cut a Brute, which I guess I could cut Magnus in theory. He's not really contributing much to this thing, other than he's a decent unit. I mean, he's a better unit than Axe, but Axe would provide the Brawny bonus, which is not that helpful. Let's be real. He's just very, very tanky. But I guess so is Magnus. Magnus actually has more health than Axe, straight up. Axe has higher base armor. These items aren't great, but Octarine actually has really good usefulness on Bristleback, so we're going to put that in. They're not great in a lot of cases, but it's very great with Bristleback. Probably the best item on him. And there's a Doom and an Arc Warden. I guess Arc Warden is probably a really good pickup as well. Tell you what, let's level to 9. Let's just do it. And then let's put in the Heartless right now. And I might look to replace Axe with Arc Warden. Or Tiny with Arc Warden. But somebody with Arc Warden here. I'm still keeping 20 gold of interest, so I'm not like completely, you know, gone in terms of interest. Can still continue to play the game. And maybe we replace the Shadow Demon with a Lich at some point as just a better Heartless. I mean, once, you know, a 2-star Shadow Demon's fine. We just have him at 1-star right now, but if we get him to 2-star, then he's fine, but he's no Lich. Especially since we're a higher level now, it's a very good chance we find a higher level Lich. And this Bristleback is just doing massive chunks. Look at this. He is untouched in the middle of the fight and just constantly every, 2.1 seconds on this cooldown, just going completely crazy. Top DPS, not close, and he is like still at full health basically. That's really impressive. Alright, let's pick up the Arc Ward and the Doom, and even buy the IO. If we're going to stick with Treant Protector, we probably want to get a 3-star IO. That being said, based on what we currently have going on here, do I think it's right to ditch the Axe already? I think it might be. Let's get rid of Axe so that instead we can put in this Arc Warden, clear up the bench space, move the Skull Basher over to Arc Warden, and just make sure we still sit on 20 gold of interest. Just trying to rearrange this bench to get a better visual about what our situation is. Ooh, this is going to be scary. We don't have any kind of resistance against this magic damage burst, and Bristleback unfortunately took first aggro for most people, so there goes our big damage source. But that doesn't mean that IO is probably going to resurrect him real quick. So, in fact, we got Doom on one of the Keepers of the Light. It can work. It'll be close. Not really. Okay, no. It was kind of close for a few seconds, and then it was not. 15, okay. Yeah, I think with a little bit better positioning, we might actually have a shot in that. Bristleback, unfortunately, just took too much of a hit, so I kind of have to use... I really need to keep him a little bit safer. So I think that it's something along these lines, so that Tiny gets the first hit. There's a 2-star Lifestealer. Let's use our free reroll. Tide Hunter is a thing, but I don't think we're ever going to get scaled. There's the Tiny. Perfect. There's also a Faceless Void and an Arc Warden in this pack. I could get Faceless Void and ditch the Heartless bonus. I kind of like that idea. Even after his nerf, Faceless Void and getting up to 4 Primordials is still pretty relevant. Now that we've got all these, if we find an Enigma, then maybe we even go into like Primordial with Brutes and we just swap out of it. But yeah, Faceless Void is still good despite his nerfs. Chrono Cube is shorter duration, but he attacks a little bit faster while in it. and it's still a pretty decent stun on their backline. Because it's basically a Tidehunter Ravage that's always going to hit their most important units. Like their backline, their damage dealers in a lot of cases. Almost certainly never going to get up to 10. Just based on the way this game is going, that there's somebody who's just like dominatingly far ahead, that if I try to save up my gold, I'm just going to take big chunks out of that. And there's other players that are doing quite well. So I think our game plan is just stay here at 9 and just try to level up from here. Or not level up, but reroll and improve our composition from here. If we can hit Doom and Arc Warden, that'd be insane. There's the Arc Warden. Alright. Don't really want to reroll much. I guess, should I sell this IO to ensure I grab interest? There's a lot of contests. There's not a lot of contests on IO. You know what? I think I'm going to win the round. We'll just try to get interest without rerolling here, or without selling off. I still have a Doom upgrade to find, a Treant Protector upgrade to find, and a Bristleback upgrade. And if we potentially get a 3-star IO, that's a lot, but it is possible. Alright, another mage player here, but we've been pretty good against these guys in the past, so I'm not overly concerned. That is a unfortunate stun hitting most of our guys, but also it's their guys too. Our Arc Warden's still going to be uncontested in the back line, and the Skull Basher is going to go crazy, so we should be good to win this one. Tiny got bashed there at the end, but looks like we're good. Alrighty, so we're about to knock this player out. It looks like somebody got knocked out in 7th. Unless this person has an Aegis. They probably do have an Aegis. No, they don't. I want to say they look like they have an Aegis because they had 30 gold still saved up, and generally you don't sit on 30 gold when you're at 9 life, unless you're really confident. But they probably shouldn't have been really confident because they didn't have the 2-star Dragon Knight, for instance. So that was one thing that they were definitely missing. Alright, about to hit a creep round here. I still think Phantom Pain is probably the best option in this tier. All of these are kind of lackluster. I just don't think Break is all that important anymore. And getting a little bit extra tankiness is always appreciated. Here, just because I have so many other upgrades to find, the Bristle, the Treant, the Doom, and even Faceless Void, I think I'm going to sell off IO. I think because we haven't found any more progress and it gets me an extra gold of interest, I think maybe now it's ready to move on from the IO. Last turn it didn't really make as much sense because we had the potential to get interest and keep that open if we won, and I was pretty confident we were going to win. I felt like we were really strong. But this round I don't have the option to do that, and I'm not quite as... I guess maybe I was a little overconfident in thinking we were going to be able to get a 3-star IO, and just based on the current situation, it doesn't seem like that's actually likely. And also I'm looking at like the outlook on this game. I see that there's one person who's going to win the game. Like, there's basically no way to contest that. They've got enough gold, health, total, compositional advantage that I just don't think, unless I start beating them by like 20. Just doesn't seem likely. I know this mage build is really scary. They got the 2-star Dragon Knight and the Keepers of Light, etc. Do I want bracers? I don't have anybody great to put bracers on. Excess, I guess, Faceless Void? No, I think I'm actually just going to pick up a BKB because I know that there's some mage builds that are really scary out there. I mean, like, bracers could go on Tiny, but I kind of just want to have a chainmail for him. I'm going to start rerolling at this level here. Find the 2-star Doom. Actually, maybe move BKB over to Doom to keep him alive. I'm sitting at 30 golds, and I found an upgrade, so I'm not really inclined to do any more rerolls at this point. I actually still keep Doom back here, I think. There's still 2 assassin builds out there, so I'm a little afraid of that. This is the mage build. Oh, they found a lich. I don't know if I saw a lich before, but that's definitely scary. That is a big, tiny toss. Very nice. Oh, and a big chrono cube there. That being said, here's the damage. I'm not dealing any damage. They're not dead yet. I'm not punching through anything. What the heck? I haven't done like any damage to anybody. My whole board just got exploded. Despite the fact that I was like stunning all of them, they still got massive damage output. The Morphling, the Dragon Knight, the Nature's Prophet all dealt more damage than my highest DPS source. What the heck? I guess I need like Bristle to get a little bit closer in there. Or grab a Scaled. I don't really think scaled is likely. Maybe I just shouldn't overcompensate for that one opponent and just hope to outlast them in other ways. I don't think I can go for a 3-star Arc Warden. That doesn't seem very likely. I want a 2-star Treant. I want a Lich. There's that. Is Lich better than Faceless Void? Probably not. It's a close call, I suppose. Alright, against Assassins I think we beat them up pretty well. Unfortunately this is a Ghost, so I don't get to knock them out. But I think we should be good against these Assassins here. It's a big anti-mage though. The elusive bonus? We haven't knocked him out yet. Constantly evading, but we eventually get him. And I think Arc Warden should be good. Well, I guess it's kind of good that we're not against the real one, because this wouldn't have knocked them out. They got knocked out otherwise, though. On the other board. Pick up the Lich to keep my options open. I really just want to find a 2-star Treant, 2-star Bristleback. Or we go up to Enigma. Get the Primordials online. That would involve losing the Brutes, but I could easily lose Lifestealer and Magnus and not be too upset about the whole situation. Okay, sell off Lich, grab this Bristleback. Yeah, that could certainly be something that I do. I'm going to move Bristleback over here because that one mage player was all stacked in this corner, and I didn't double check, but the big problem is that I didn't get damage out, and now that Bristleback is a lot tankier, getting him in closer into the real part of the fight is probably a little bit better. Big Chrono Cube in the back line. Doesn't stun them forever, but stuns them long enough. Get some damage out. Bristleback's still going strong here. They're still at 62 life. Really afraid of that, but I was about to come back with somebody. I don't know exactly who. Faceless Void. Good, good. Another big backline stun. Their Golem is not doing anything. It's trapped in a corner based on their NSX positioning. So that was probably a mistake from them to make this Golem completely irrelevant. Has barely done anything, and we take a big solid win, and we lock in at least 3rd place, as the other Assassin player has been eliminated. So we're not afraid of Assassins anymore, we're just afraid of these other 2 compositions. The one Brute build we just beat up on, and a Mage build that I am quite scared of at the moment. So, I think what we can do is we can ditch like Lifesteal or Magnus if I can find a Morphling. And I'm going to reroll down to 0 just because, well, I can do that and then sell off to get those upgrades. But I don't find it right now, and I think actually maybe... Is Enigma better than Faceless Void? Just for his Ace of Primordials? It's not that important, I don't think. I don't think it's really that important. Alright, so here's the same Brute build again. They're a little bit more spread out this time. That being said, I still think we're probably going to try to get the Primordial bonus online, because I don't think the 4 Brutes is doing as much as I'd like it to, especially not against the other player who's playing mages, like a full mage comp. Brutes is just not that important, whereas Primordials gives me a lot of sustain against their, or a lot of resilience rather, not sustain, against their damage output. It's like, well, okay, you did 1 burst of spells, but the Primordials that come out of it, or the Eidolons that come out of it, are still very impactful and very threatening. So in that sense, it's still a good situation. We do beat this opponent again, but not by quite as much. Their spread formation a little bit better for them. And yeah, Lifestealer and Magnus are just probably the lowest impact units on this board, especially if we can get up to Primordials. So since we picked up the increase to Pure Pains damage, I think it's Sympathy Pains. There's not a lot of reason to do like Demon's Revenge in this composition, I don't think. Another reroll or 2. No Morphling here. We'll just try it again next turn. And I can double check and scout their positioning. And now the life total is relatively close. I mean, we're not level 10 because we've just been re-rolling a whole lot because we still have upgrades to find. I mean, we don't even have a 2-star Treant at this point. But I do think that we have a shot to win the game. It may not be a good shot, but it's a shot. I think I want to move some of my guys who are currently in the closer to the back lines of the fight a little bit farther forward, because there's no more assassins I need to worry about jumping on me, so there's no reason to have like Doom this far in the back. I still want to have Tiny and Treant closer to the front, just to pick up initial aggro, but I don't want them to like die because they take literally every opponent at once. Moonshard and Daedalus are both really good options here. I think Moonshard's slightly better though. I think it's just a better item, especially on somebody like a Lifestealer. There's the Treant. No Morphling to be found, but that's okay. That is okay. I do think it's going to be better if we can get that. Let's do a quick scout on their positioning. Blink Dagger. Come over here. Maybe I should have swapped Tiny and Treant's positioning here so that Tiny doesn't get target buddied. But other than that, I think this is the best we can do against this mage. I'm really not thrilled about this mage situation though. Good Chrono Q, but will it be enough? Do we have enough damage output otherwise? Our Arc Wardens are already dead. You get the Faceless Void back, but that's not going to be enough. He just gets immediately target buddied. What the heck? That mage bow is so much burst. Absolutely absurd. It's their Lich 2-star, their Keeper 2-star. Oh man. Yeah, that mage burst. I don't know if Primordials is going to solve that. Well, I guess we're about to find out. I think 6 Primordials is better here. It's a better option. My Moon Shard, I guess, goes on the Faceless Void, I suppose. More Bristlebacks that I don't need. Alright, well, I hope this is good enough. I think 6 Primordials is better than the 4 Brutes here, although they are kind of downgraded on individual units, I suppose. And we're up against the mages again, and so that's not ideal. That is not ideal. But, of course, the Primordial buff is a pretty big change to this composition. Certainly better than Magnus and Lifestealer, who just gets caught up in the burst damage. And these Eidolons are doing it! They're actually doing it! Oh my goodness, this is actually going to win us the fight. There's no way they got enough burst magic damage left to kill us, these Eidolons. I'm not going to deal any damage to them, but it's their ghost, so it doesn't matter. But I'm not losing these fights, and that's the important part. As long as we don't lose the fights, then we win the game. Well, maybe we don't win the game, but at least we'll get, like, second place. Alright, that was huge. That Primordial buff changed everything. So I'm probably not going to play them 3 times in a row. I don't think the algorithm is not perfectly random. I just don't think it goes like that. So based on that idea, I think it's fine to kind of move these things over here. Perhaps move Doom like this, and perhaps move Morphling over to this corner. Yeah. Got it. So whenever it's in three person, you can play the same person twice in a row if you play the real one and then you play their phantom. But once you've played them twice in a row and no one's got eliminated in that interim, I think you can kind of like figure out that you're not going to play them again, at least not right off the bat. So you can kind of target your positioning appropriately. And so we kind of saw that. We saw what the opponent was up to, and looks like we're going to win. I don't know if we're going to deal all that much damage to them, but looks like we are going to win. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15. Okay, well, I'm bad at counting. I guess, oh, the baseline round damage, right. And then a Nessex and then the bonus damage. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, okay. So now all bets are off on who we're going to play. Don't know who we're going to play this next round. Let's reroll, trying to find Morphling upgrades. Nothing there. That's fine. I think I'm going to swap back to this other positioning here where they've got... well, hold on. What is this? What is the mage player looking like? I don't want to get taunted by this target buddy. If I can do this and taunt that target buddy right off the bat, that probably makes a bit more sense. Am I up against them? I am. Okay, well, let's see if we can get that target buddy to taunt just nothing, or just the Morphling, which is fine, because it's basically nothing. Io's about to cast and pull back the Morphling, but he dies before he gets off. Definitely unfortunate. And Essex goes down, and I don't think this is looking well. This is good for us. No! Ah! So close. That's very unfortunate. We got third place. I bet we knock out this person here in second place, and the game's over right now. I want to go back to spectate. Stop doing this. I want to see if I would have got second, if I just survived a few more seconds. No. Looks like I was going to lose on this board too. I guess that second position was better. I just figured it was better against the mages, but turns out my late game position was just a little bit off. I thought it would be better against the mages in that side positioning, but it turns out it was wrong. So, oh well. A solid third place finish. I think that build obviously, has good potential. I could have won that with, I think, better positioning, but 2-star Lich, double 2-star Dragon Knight, 2-star Keeper. I didn't have scaled, and arguably I should have tried to fit in scaled, I think. I don't know exactly how I would have done it, but should have maybe looked a little closer at that. In any case, it was a pretty good game. Top 3, I'm not going to complain about it. Alright, thank you guys all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.